Robert Wilkerson, who had been in another prison at the time of Brent Miller's murder, was placed on his return to Angola straight into solitary confinement for investigation over the murder of Miller. While there, he was framed for the killing of a fellow inmate and given life imprisonment. He was to spend 28 years in solitary confinement under investigation, until he and his supporters eventually proved his innocence and won his release.
We lived in a cell 23 hours a day, sometimes 24. It was 6 by 9 by 12-foot cell. Everywhere we went, we were shackled, handcuffed. They had a procedure where, the food was, it was prepared in a very unsanitary manner. And when they serve it to us, they used to serve it to us like just put it in a tray and just throw it on the floor and just slide it under the door. We had went through what they call a routine shakedown, and included in this usual shakedown was this routine ounce search. And even though we were in our cells, like, 24/7 sometimes, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, even though we never came in contact with anybody else, whenever we did, when they needed us to come out the cell, go to the hospital or go somewhere, there was a routine that they had where you would have to go through this humiliating shakedown. And the shakedown, like I say, consisted of, you raising your arm, opening your mouth, spraying your legs, and then turning around, bending over, and spraying your buttocks.
Herman and Albert are in their 37th year of solitary confinement at Angola prison. Bloody fingerprints found at the scene of the murder did not match any of the inmates charged, and to this day, prison officials refuse to check them against the prison database. The star witness against them, who was serving natural life for aggravated rape, eventually obtained a pardon with the help of prison officials, particularly the warden, who began a well-organised effort to obtain his release shortly after Herman's conviction. Both Herman and Albert have multiple alibi witnesses, and the prisoners who testified against them have recanted their testimony, claiming they were coerced by prison officials to lie under oath. Even the widow of the murdered correctional officer says she believes Herman and Albert did not do it.
As I understand it, the wife of the guard has real doubts. And what you have to remember about victims is actually, by and large, victims don't want the wrong person to be convicted. Because even the most conservative person in the world will recognize that if you have the wrong person in prison or the wrong person on death row, that means that the person who did it is not there. Perhaps the most shocking thing of my entire career is we represented in my office in New Orleans a total of 171 people facing the death penalty over a 3-year period. We were able to prove they'd arrested the wrong person in 126 cases, 74% of those cases.
We've been fortunate. We've had people to kind of support us and get on board. People like Anita, and putting her efforts and the people that she knows and her expertise and resource. I think it brought, it brought our case to a broader view. And I think without that input, the Angola 3, as we know it today, or as people know it today, would not be as prevalent especially in America, for that matter in the UK, had not it been for people like Anita.
Sadly, Anita Roddick passed away in 2007, but her husband Gordon and daughter Sam continue, along with many others, to campaign on Herman and Albert's behalf.
Why all of us are here is to get these guys out of jail. They've been, and Robert, who you will hear in a few seconds, was 29 years in solitary. And it was a serial injustice. And Herman and Albert have been in there for 37 years in solitary confinement.
Herman and Albert, they are what we consider legally alive, in quote. Albert's case, about a week ago, court ruled that he was denied a fair trial, that he should be released. This is where his case is at today. Herman's case is similar to his. It's still in the court as well. And a magistrate a commissioner had ruled that Herman should be given a new trial, but the judge did not adopt the magistrate report. So we're in the process of appealing Herman's conviction.
The problem with Albert and Herman is that they've had, hopefully, an order that suggests they'll get a new trial, but it's by no means certain yet. There's every chance, unfortunately, that the appellate courts will take that away from them again. And there's nothing worse. You imagine you've been in prison for 30 years and you get a judge who orders that you get a new trial and you're all excited, and then the government appeals, and on some procedural rubbish, the appellate court says, no, you just serve the rest of your life in prison. That happens all the time, and I'm afraid it may happen in their case. So it's really important that people don't think that the battle is won. There's a lot of work to be done for them yet.
Life keeps moving on. Are we waiting in vain? Will anything change? Life keeps rolling on. Are we waiting in vain? No, I believe it will change.
Every morning I rise and face the firing squad. Every morning there's one who holds his fire. His dilemma is my system of belief. They fire rounds, but I'm seldom in their circle. A quiet mind is labeled sound in colored purple. My little boy has not yet learned to color within lines. His jumbled diction not yet learned our contradiction. We speak of art with flaming passion, then do work void of compassion and wonder why reality is bleeding fiction.
Life keeps moving on. Are we waiting in vain? Will anything change? Life keeps rolling on. Are we waiting?
This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.